Look, we here. We here, ready to rock, and we are ready to roll. We got three, so it's a big three, but it ain't the big three plus one. It should be the big three plus one, but it's coming. Kenny is coming. He is going to join us. Thank you to everyone who is out there and who are watching with us. You know, Agent MG17 straight up to us from the Signal Chat. Agent M17, Agent MG17. That could be Marjorie Taylor Greene 17. I don't know, but look, can't wait. We have a great show for you as well. Really, really excited here to be with you and to everybody here who's on the check-in. Kenny has entered into the mix. He has entered into the mix, and bam, he is here with us. Ready to go. So we got the big three and the plus one. Hey, y'all. Ready to go. And it's a pretty big show. It's a great big show with us tonight, where we are bringing to the people congressional candidate, the one and the only congressional candidate Isaiah Martin for the Texas congressional seat. It's a famous seat. It's a powerful seat.
That's right.
The congressional 18th district of Texas, recently vacated by our brother who is resting in paradise, Sylvester Turner, previously owned by our sister Sheila Jackson Lee, who's also resting in paradise. And it was once upon a time the seat for the famous Barbara Jordan, correct, Isaiah?
That's right. Barbara Jordan, Nikki Leland, and Craig Washington.
So much power in this seat and such a powerful historical path that Isaiah is walking. So Isaiah, welcome to the Big Three.
Man, I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited to see you guys. You know, I've been knowing you guys for a while, man. So it's weird to, I guess, come on as a candidate. You know, it's a new thing for me, but, you know, I'm excited because we're just at such a big pivotal moment in our country, and I'm ready to get this thing going.
So for everyone out there watching, we want you to also drop some questions in the chat, engage with us, talk to candidate Martin as well. Kenny, I'm going to throw you the first question and let you kind of start off because you were instrumental in securing Isaiah for tonight's show. And so while Kenny's giving up his first question, Isaiah, I want to let you give one word from each of us, right? So you've known us on social media, in our online presence. You've also met us, engaged with us at different events, political events that we've been at together. One word that you would use to describe each one of us, and a different word. How does Isaiah describe the Big Three?
All right, let's see. Kenny, real.
Well, I mean, that's a good one.
It's in the name.
You know, I get it, but it's like at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That's the best thing, man, because you just so authentic and you just say how we always feeling. So, you know, I definitely got real for you, Kenny. You know, for Zach, let me see. I'ma say, I see what I really want to say is two words, and that's the real problem here.
You can give it two words.
Yeah. Always right.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm right.
Like, you know what?
Wait a minute.
Do you fucking hear it?
You got the takes that are just always good, man. So I'm like, every time I see you post a video, I'm like, oh, let me see what he's talking about, because you're always right.
He's telling them.
And then for Brian, man, you know what? I'm gonna say, you're relentless, bro. That's what I gotta say. You go after him, man. So you're relentless, and I appreciate that, honestly, because you know, we need that relentless energy, especially right now, man. These people are crazy. So 100%.
Appreciate that. No, I'll take that. I'll take relentless. Kenny, you're the first person to ask the question, but I have some questions as well. So let's kick it off.
All right, cool. So since you're talking about relentless, what's making you decide to go back to run for Congress? Because you ran before, but you wound up dropping out for respect to Sheila Jackson Lee, which shows, you know, what kind of character you have. But what's the main reason why you're running for Congress? What makes you feel that you are the perfect person for this moment at this point in this time?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, Congresswoman Jackson Lee was, like a grandmother-like figure, right? So, I was running while she was running for mayor, and when that race didn't end up going her way, she wanted to go back for another term, and I stepped back because we needed somebody like her that was going to go in and fight. And so ultimately, I was proud to support her to go back and supported Sylvester Turner. But ultimately, when this seat, when he ended up passing away, I really sat back and I thought about it for a while, but I'll tell you what, it was that CR vote that really was the nail in the coffin for me. That happened in the Senate. Ultimately, I just realized that we're at this point where we just simply cannot afford to not get somebody in Congress that's not going to fight, because we got to get more people in Congress that have a spine and a backbone, that are not going to be afraid of the crazy foolishness that these Trumpers are throwing our way. And so at that point, I knew that I had to do everything that I could, to drop everything that I could, to go run for this seat, because it is a pivotal moment in our history.
Yeah. Isaiah, I want to tell you what I really love about your candidacy is people in the comments are saying it, that you are perfect for the next generation, but you are also so savvy because you understand it. Being from a content creator perspective, being from a younger generation, like we are digital natives. We understand how to best communicate using the communication tools that are so contemporary getting to people. You have a TikTok live show that you do all the time. You talk to people who disagree with you. You debate them. You give them the facts. And sometimes people walk away with more information than all the time they walk away with more information than they came in. And I've seen people like who strongly disagreed, that were MAGA, that were like, oh, even if they didn't fully agree leaving, you planted that seed. So I really love that. And I want to talk to you about that, particularly as it relates to how you're communicating about the issues. You had a TikTok live, and I talked about this last week. You had a TikTok live where somebody came on and asked you how you felt about health insurance or healthcare. And you used it so wisely to be able to post it across all different platforms. Talk a little bit about where you stand on the issues so that people can get to know you from that perspective.
100%. I mean, because first of all, I've been doing TikTok live for almost a year, pretty much every single day. And ultimately, it's been a crazy to even say that, right? It's been a whole year, but I've been going up there every single night and just talking to these people, because I believe that, we have to be able to answer questions from everybody. We shouldn't be running from questions, certainly not. And so I want to use that platform to smash any kind of, BS that I might hear. Have a little fun with it sometimes, but it's also a way for, if somebody is on the fence, they don't know who to vote for, and they're wondering, or they have a question that they haven't heard answered from Democrats, I want to make sure that I can be there to answer that tough question. In regards to the issues, we got, I would say the biggest problem that we have right now is this corrupt fool that we got in the White House, right? Like he's obviously, the bane of the majority of our problems. So, I mean, look, one of the first things I want to do is introduce legislation to stop a president from being able to go forward and put these tariffs in place, like drunk texts at 2 a.m. I want to make sure that we can stop that. Now, ultimately, I don't believe that the Republicans would vote for such a thing, but what it does is it put them on record. It makes it so whenever, we see this inflation that's about to happen, when we see the job loss that's happening, when we see all of the wreckage of the economy, the 401ks that are absolutely in the gutter, this is going to be what's important, to be able to go to those swing seats and say, look, the Republicans sat by, and because they were too weak and afraid of Donald Trump, they did nothing to stop his rampage. So I want to do that, and make sure that we can get in a position to flip the House. And when we flip the House, we got to be bold. And so I'm talking about things like wiping out medical debt for every single person in this country, because it makes no sense that if we can give $7 trillion in tax cuts to the richest people in society, we certainly should be able to wipe out medical debt for our people in this country. So wiping out medical debt, investing to have universal, job trainings in this country, making sure we have tuition-free community college is something that's very important to train people for the jobs of tomorrow. Just being bold, being unapologetic about these things is how we're going to be able to win in 2026 and beyond.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think, we have a question in from possibly one of your constituents, right? This is something I think that's really important, because many times we're looking at these national issues. Yeah. It hit me hard this week in the state of Georgia, where we have a secret bill underfoot that's getting ready to slide through, that's going to actually make it where every county in Georgia only has one early voting location. Early voting in Georgia is essential. They have tried and done everything they can to suppress the vote, particularly the black vote. And we've been able to at least remain resilient and remain viable as an electorate. But limiting there being just one early voting location in a county like Fulton County or Fulton County like DeKalb County or Gwinnett County, these massive counties with huge traffic, it's the end. There's no point in any voting ever again. It's over. So, but no one's talking about it. Like it's over. Like there's no one. So the local issues that we care about that get you elected to serve the people of the Texas 18th are the ones that don't get talked about. So this question coming to us from Robin brings it home. What do you plan to continue in the community that you serve, and what would you like to bring to that community that isn't there as the congressional representative for the Texas 18th?
Well, for starters, Congresswoman Jackson Lee was somebody who was really big on constituent services, making sure that she had a full staff to make sure we could answer questions about veterans or, Medicare, Medicaid, all of that stuff. So I certainly want to continue that legacy of being available and open to the people of our district. The other thing is, what would I like to bring that isn't there? I don't think that we do enough outreach, particularly into the community, to folks that don't tune into politics all year round. A lot of times the communication that we see is really only to primary voters or, during election season. We got to be going all year round communicating to everybody. So that means going on shows like this one, with our friends, right? The big three, going on podcasts across America, going on podcasts in the district, going to radio shows, answering questions, being available, having town halls. All of that stuff is very important. Because I believe that when we do that and we bring the work in Washington, D.C. directly to the people of our district, that's how we really get people engaged and excited to vote for us. So I certainly want to do that. I know, Zach, you mentioned about the voting rights situation up in Georgia. It's a big problem that we're seeing even in Texas. We're seeing it in red states across America. And frankly, I want to do this a little bit differently. I want to do this differently. For a long time, we've been doing the same playbook in which we're effectively just waiting for Republicans to come around and vote for voting rights. But here's the deal. They never will, because it doesn't benefit, right? So ultimately, what I say is that for these states that have independent redistricting commissions, let's go up there and let's talk to them. And let's get rid of them in Democratic states. You haven't probably heard someone say that before. Let's get rid of these independent redistricting commissions in California and New York, and let's actually gerrymander them, right? The same way that Republicans gerrymander us. Because you think that Ron DeSantis is over here talking about an independent redistricting commission giving up seats? Absolutely not. Right. So let's go do that. Let's do that to them. Let's go to these states that we clearly have a population advantage of, and let's go and net 15 seats and then see how quick the Republicans will come to the table to go give us the voting rights that we've been marching for the last 50 years. I want to do this differently and bring that energy to Congress.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like that.
That's what I'm talking about. Play the game and use the different playbook. The old shit of their inhibitions are gonna drop when they're on the Stairmaster. That shit is gone. Nobody in Congress is sitting down with each other like they used to and having meals and having real conversations. They're not doing that shit anymore. No. In the smoky rooms and the backdoor deals, none of that happens. No. Now it's more so they are going full throttle because they've done the long game work of creating not only the playbook that they're now effectuating, but also being able to get the courts, get the Senate, get the House of Representatives. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do that. I love that. This is what I'm talking about. When we talk about bold visions and bold leaders and it's not just the new faces, folks. This is what we're talking about. The ideas got to be fresh.
That's right.
So one question, I'm going to then turn it back over to you guys, Kenny and Brian, to ask your follow-ups. But one question that came into the chat was, how can content creators and politicians work better together? That's one question. And I want to tack on a piece to it is, what can people out there do who are just in general, like, who are just out here on social media? How can they also support the work that, politicians that we believe in are doing?
Well, for starters, I think that we have to do more collabs, to be honest with you. I think that we got to be able to have more electeds that are willing to get into spaces and do stuff with creators. And I think that the biggest thing is that we have to, do this in a way that's very authentic. I think that what you guys do is very authentic, and we do a lot of great work. And we got to get politicians that will be in the same lane in being authentic on camera. I think that that's really the name of the game here. We got to stop being boring. if I'm just being honest with you, and just do a lot of work that you guys have been pioneering for such a long time, and just continue that. And in regards to what can people at home do, it goes a lot when you guys share the posts that our friends over here, the Big Three, are doing, and it does a lot when you share the work of your local city council member, Congress member, senator, whatever, because sharing that and bringing that onto the table of your own network and your own group of people really means a lot. So always make sure that you guys are sharing, because it's really the biggest and most important thing that you guys can do that doesn't take any effort, and you can do at your home, and it's free.
Listen, I want to very briefly take a moment, and this is really important. I'm so glad that Citizen Morgan brought it to the table. Citizen Morgan said, I'll be going on Act Blue to send my donation. Yeah, I mean, Isaiah's not going to sit here and say that, but I'm going to say it on his behalf. Listen, this man is running against some very seasoned politicians in the city of Houston, who are ingrained into that city, who have connections to businessmen in that city, who have connections to businessmen from all walks of life in all places in life. And I live in a city where, I live in Atlanta, and I don't give a damn. Take it, clip it, send it to Andre Dickens. Take it, clip it, and send it to Andre Dickens. I live in a city where having a D behind your name really doesn't mean a damn thing, because the politicians that are elected and who win are connected deeply to Republicans and Republican money. And they're being heavily funded their campaigns to get that, because they're going to do the will of ensuring that Republican interests are made. Example being Cop City. With that being said, there's no way that a congressional candidate like Isaiah Martin is going to be viable if they don't have the funds to be viable with.
Right.
Go to his Act Blue account and make a donation in any amount that you're able to do so. I'm committing tonight to donating $100 to Isaiah again tonight. I've donated before. I'm donating again tonight. So I'm asking you to do the same thing, to make that donation for Isaiah so that he can be a viable candidate against the money of his fellow candidates. And again, who knows where it's coming from, but I can guarantee you this: Republicans aren't pouring money into Isaiah's account. Just scroll his social media, okay? You scroll to social media, just one quick glance, I promise you, they will put that money right back into
yeah. They don't like me very much, but that's okay. I think that's what we need. I don't think that we need folks that these guys are loving too much. So I'm ready to get things done and make their lives a lot more difficult.
Well, Isaiah, talk a little bit about that.
That's what we like. Good trouble.
That's right. That's right. Talk a little bit about that in terms of the fundraising aspect, because I think a lot of people have this mentality, which is true by and large, how it has historically worked. People get bought out by these big interest corporate donors, and so billionaires and millionaires, and then they do the bidding of those millionaires and billionaires and not the bidding of the people. Talk a little bit about that in terms of what your philosophy is in fundraising, those small dollar donations, being beholden to the people, because I think in knowing you, in seeing your content, and seeing what you fight for, what you stand for, you fight for the people and stand with the people at every step of the way. So talk a little bit about what your campaign fundraising philosophy has been.
100%. And that's why so many of these guys are terrified about me, because they know that we have such a massive network of people all around the country that are just fed up and sick and tired of seeing the same old that we've been watching. And because of that, we've been able to get thousands of people that have chipped in $1, $10, $100, $500, whatever they can afford, and absolutely using that to send a message to these people that we need people in Washington, D.C. that are accountable directly to the people. And that's what we need. The biggest thing that terrifies a lot of the shrimp party and the cocktail party people are people that absolutely stand on business and are ready to get things done because they're accountable to the people instead of the few.
Right. That's right. Kenny, I think
you big business.
No, I love this. The mere fact that we have a campaign that's empowered by the people, because we saw, unfortunately, within our own party where corporate donations and corporate donors decided who would be our nominee for us, literally kicking Joe Biden off the ticket. So I'm glad to see that you're actually getting the support from the people that are supposed to put you in office rather than your corporate donations. Those are the most important things. Okay, so the other question would be, what kind of committee would you be on if you were elected? Like, what would be your main objective going into Congress?
Well, it's hard to say, largely because, it's going to be leadership that's making that decision, and ultimately it's up to them. But, if I had my pick, I would pick the Homeland Security Committee, because ultimately, for us in Houston, we've had so many problems with FEMA, with hurricanes, national disasters, all of that stuff. Mayor Sylvester Turner had like 7 national federally declared disasters in just his 8 years in office, right?
Wow.
So, having that connection on the Homeland Security Committee is very, very, very important, so that we can get quick answers for the things we need right here in the district.
And I love that you said that and made that distinction, because a lot of people think Department of Homeland Security and automatically think immigration, right? They don't think they right or right.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then especially as it relates to Texas being a border state, a lot of people automatically, I think, would think that. But the fact that you even broke it down into the nuance of, as we think about, natural disasters and how it has been impactful. I like that distinction, that you know the issues.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, these hurricanes are no joke in Houston, man. It's like, they're crazy, and we get them all the time. And so it's like,
he said the hurricanes one shit. He said tornadoes one shit.
Man,
Atlanta,
I said
what I said. You're gonna say I said what I said.
I did say what I said.
Hey, I'm in Atlanta.
We
were finna get blown the fuck away.
We had one of those tornadoes. Like,
and Kenny said, "What? You got
crazy
tornadoes in Texas?"
I was in Dallas. I was in Dallas, Wiley, Texas. Child, we didn't have no issues when it came to stuff like that. Little to any type of hits. Now, Rockwall, all them other places, they got the asses whooped, but Wiley, they just didn't fuck with us like that. We was good. You was covered in the blood. I think that's what it was.
But wait, Isaiah, can you talk a little bit about that? Because you said the hurricanes have been impactful. And so in terms of FEMA, Trump has said he wants to cancel out FEMA. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, it's like the most crazy thing I've ever seen. FEMA is literally what, has rebuilt so many of the homes that are here. And the problem is everybody hasn't even gotten the money that they've needed from Hurricane Harvey from a couple of years ago, right? That's going on 8 years ago that happened. And, to talk about getting rid of FEMA is that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. I mean, I've just got to be honest with you, So, I just think that ultimately we got to be very strong against that. And we got to raise the pressure on these Republicans who are sitting there doing nothing because they're afraid of Donald Trump, and just going up to their constituents saying, really? You just faced the hurricane. You really want to get rid of the FEMA money that you're getting right now? You just faced a tornado in North Carolina. You want to get rid of that funding? And really just bring up a grassroots insurgency against these people, because these people are just quite literally absurd, and we got to stand up against them.
Yeah, I think somebody in the comment section
brought that up.
Okay, go ahead.
What do we do about what would you be doing in order to hold Greg Abbott accountable for when these federal fundings aren't being used properly? Yeah. I mean, we got to talk about Hot Wheels since he's the big topic of discussion.
Look, they're trying so hard to come after our great Congresswoman in Dallas, Jasmine Crockett, and ultimately I think it's just because these guys realize that they royally screwed up our economy. They did the thing with Signalgate and all that, and they're trying to look so hard to distract people, and it's just not working. People aren't buying that BS. So we all stand with Jasmine. You all know that. So look, in regards to stopping Greg Abbott, I mean, this guy has been on a rampage for a very long time. A lot of people are very afraid to stand up to him. Ultimately, I don't quite understand why, but at the end of the day, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be using every resource that I have to fight back against him. And I just cannot wait for the day that we get back control of the White House, that we can use every federal agency necessary to crack down on the ridiculous stuff that they're doing here. Let me give you an example. We have something here called cancer clusters right here in my district, in which companies, railroad companies in particular, have been polluting the air, the water of so many of these homes that we have. And as a result of this, you got entire streets where people will literally get cancer. It's reminiscent of Cancer Alley in Louisiana, but it's a big thing that's here. And so under the Biden administration, they were doing a lot of work to get, air monitors and do a lot of research to get this stuff on record. So we really could get the resources to go back at these companies that are completely ruining the lives of so many of these people. We were doing that. And then Trump gets rid of the Environmental Justice Office that was literally responsible for all of this stuff. And it completely let go of all of that stuff. The problem, and the reason why I bring that up, is because for people like Greg Abbott, these companies are in his pocket. They're in his pocket. They're in all the Republicans' pocket. They're buying them all up. And if we don't have the federal government to be there and say, you know what, there's a lot of foolishness that's going on.
I just want to emphasize right now that they are also in the pockets of somebody that is running against him. I promise you that.
That's true.
I promise you that. I don't know who it is. I don't even know the other people because they don't matter to me.
Yeah.
As someone who is not a resident of the congressional 18th district of Texas, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm in the Georgia 5th, but. But I promise you, they find the person, they find their candidate, they find the person who, because they know it'll be a Democrat who's going to get this seat. They very likely know it's probably going to be a black Democrat, and they found their candidate, they found their person. They're funneling money into that pocket, and they're ensuring they have a strong war chest to beat Isaiah. And again, the only way to counter that for him is small dollar donors. That's right. The only way. Continue, Isaiah.
That's right. I mean, you're 100% right, and that's why, like I said, so many of these guys, they fear me because it's like ultimately they know that because we have so much support from people all across the country and right here in the district that, this is the kind of games they try to play. But, ultimately they try to go and buy up all these people like NASCAR stickers, and ultimately it ends up leaving nothing to get done. So I'm going to go to Congress to make sure that we can get that environmental justice office back. I'm going to go there to make sure that we're using the federal government to be a check on this ridiculous state government that's been ruining the lives of people for the last 30 straight years.
Right.
We have some people. We have one. How can they find you on Blue Sky?
Yeah, I'm there at isaiahrmartin.bsky.social, ISAIAHRMARTIN.
And we also had this comment here. Has Ken Martin from the DNC reached out to you to offer assistance?
No, but that's not unusual. When it comes to these Democratic primaries, the DNC doesn't really get involved with these type of things. But, I like Ken Martin. I think he's doing a good job in terms of these town halls that he's doing. And I can't wait to get to Washington and to support him in those efforts.
Yeah.
What about any connections with you and Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Black Caucus PAC? Have you reached out to them? Have you gotten any responses?
Yeah, we're working a lot, really hard on that. We're trying to make sure that we can reach out to as many as we can, especially these individual members. It's going to be very important that we do. I love the CBC. I was at the Phoenix thing last year. It was really awesome. And, went to CBC week. I've been going for the last few years, been having a good time, and also just doing the work and doing, what's really important. So I look forward.
That last week of September, I've already put in to be off.
CBC is going to be great, but look, I always enjoy it. The CBC works so hard and they've been doing a lot of good work, and I'm just so excited to meet everybody and get to work with them to get stuff done.
We're gonna put up I want to show everybody Isaiah's campaign ad, the campaign launch. It was really great. I'm gonna show that. I know, Brian, you have a comment or a question, and we'll go to it. We had two things that also kind of came in and kind of opened the door for everybody to kind of get some insight to. Is that one, what is your plan to stop the Trump-Musk administration? I'm gonna let Isaiah, of course, answer it, but I'm going to give a preface to that and saying it's not up to the members of Congress to stop the Trump-Musk administration because they can't. They're the minority because of what we the people did. We the people are the ones who must stop it. And I say that again. I know Isaiah's going to have some comments. He's going to have some great things to say, probably a great political answer. But we can't allow what we failed to do to fall back on anyone out there to save us because they can't save us. We have to save ourselves. Now, here's an example of how we save ourselves. I'm sitting here, literally thinking to myself, and I'll be a very vulnerable, transparent moment. I grieve the life of my mother every day of my life. There isn't one day since she has transitioned to everlasting life that I have not grieved her. But I literally thought to myself, thank God I don't have a relative to worry about getting older and having to struggle with the disaster of Social Security and how it's going to be left when Donald Trump leaves office. That's a horrible thing to think, but I thought it. And I have absolute heartbreak for all of the senior citizens and elderly Americans who literally have to pay their bills and depend on that Social Security check. And it's 70% of seniors who do, and how they are determined to end it. But because the American people fought back, not necessarily Democrats, but the American people, many of them Republicans at these town halls, American people who've called, who've blown up the phone lines. They finally rolled back the fact that they can't end the damn phone lines. A small victory, but a major win for seniors. Because again, think about it. If you are hospital or homebound and unable to get out, you miss a check-in and you lose your payment. And you have to start the whole process back over. What elderly, they can't even leave the house to get groceries, let alone go to a social security center where they've shut them down. We had 30 plus centers in Georgia. Now we only have 5. That's the evil of the Trump and Musk administration. Isaiah will never be able to end that when he's in a minority party or an opposition party, but you can. You, the American people. Isaiah, you can answer the question.
I definitely agree with you, and certainly, you're going to see me on the front lines. You're not going to see me just get elected and then just go sit in, a lounge somewhere up in D.C., right? Like, you're going to see me every single day. You're going to see me fighting, and you're ultimately going to see me going working every single day. So also go flip a lot of these seats. A lot of these Republicans are sitting in these cushy seats in Congress, and they think that ultimately they can't be beaten. And so I'm here to make sure that I can be a part of that charge. It goes up to their districts. We're going to have town halls, and we're going to let them know that it's time to get the heck out of Congress. I almost said something else, but you know how that goes. But in any event, we just got to get these guys out. And so, ultimately, I'll be looking at every single piece of legislation that comes forward. I'm going to be calling out the amendments because that's what a lot of these Republicans do. They do a lot of these sneaky amendments that they look and hope that nobody's paying attention to. I'm going to be calling out every single one of them. I'm going to be filing legislation to make their lives a lot more difficult. And we're just not going to sit down and lay back while, they try to destroy this country and destroy all of our lives. I'm ready to fight these guys back with the same amount of fire they're sending our way.
That's absolutely correct. And what I love about that, and just to bridge those 2 points, because I think the realism of what Zach is saying to the management of expectations, that you can't just automatically say, well, I'm going to vote for this one person who's going to do it. They get in, and then now you blame them for everything when the minority party who doesn't have the specific power to do it isn't able to do it. So I love the realism in that, but I also love the boldness in saying yes, and when I'm elected, I'm still going to be a leader for the people. I'm still going to be able to not only talk to my residents and the people in my constituency, but also the people across constituencies and talk to other people who have not been doing, because these Republicans have not been doing and not been meeting the moment. And when they go back to these town halls, which, by the way, they've been told not to do town halls. When they go back to these town halls, they've been booed, and all they do is flip it back on the people and say, well, you're just paid actors. And that I think, and we've said this before, I've said this last week, and will continue to say it, that is the biggest mistake, and they're themselves shooting themselves in the foot.
Yep.
And I appreciate that, because that is the type of leadership that we need. The people who are going to go in there to inspire their constituency to continue doing the work, inspire the constituencies across, because Jasmine Crockett, as a great example, doesn't just inspire her constituents. She inspires a whole bunch of people across the country with her words. And the same thing you can say for everybody else. So I want to say I appreciate that. I also had a question for you, because I think there was a good question in the comments. People in the comments are doing a great job tonight.
Yeah.
Speaking about the specific challenges you're seeing on the ground, you're doing canvassing, you're knocking on doors, you're having conversations with people. Are those what are the specific challenges that you're facing? Is it that in terms of resources, is it people power? Is it, having a team to be able to go to do these things? Is it that, are you seeing things on the ground in terms of some shady things with other candidates? What are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing right now as you're running?
Let me just say this. We've been able to build so much momentum in this race, and it's been almost like catching on like a wildfire right here in the district. And it's been because people are excited for change, people are excited for new leadership, and they're excited for somebody that's just unapologetic. I think that this district is very clear on that. And, you got some folks that want to do politics the old way. They want to stay, focus on the shrimp parties and the cocktail parties. They want to do all of that stuff. But ultimately, what I'm seeing when I talk to people, when I talk to that grandmother on the phone that is worried about the future, she is not really interested in the same old. She wants something new. She wants somebody that's going to fight back, and she wants somebody that's going to be unapologetic. So, look, if my opponents want to continue the games they're playing on their own, that can focus on that on their own time. I'm more focused on everyday individual people working and fighting for them and being someone that's unapologetic on the issues. And I'm focused on continuing that. So
there you go.
And so we'll
So-
get ready. Okay, we'll go to Kenny. I'm gonna let you after we do this one brief response to a question about bolstering Supreme Court. What can we do to bolster the Supreme Court? You guys can also answer that, but I'm gonna nothing. We have to wait for them to die. We fucked it up. Okay, so what we now have we have a MAGA controlled Supreme Court that's only going to become more MAGA. We're going to see Clarence Thomas. And we're gonna see Samuel Alito. My brain kept saying Antonin Scalia, but he is dead. We're gonna see the two of them, Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. They're gonna step down within the 4 years that Trump is in office, and he's going to appoint brand new, fresh spanking 40-year-olds who have 30 years of life ahead of them to sit on that Supreme Court and continue to wreak havoc and ruin the lives of Americans in the MAGA tradition. That is the result of what we did or did not do in not electing Kamala Devi Harris to be the president of the United States. So there's nothing that can be done to take away the majority that's there. They are going to constantly sit on that bench for 30 or more years of our lives, outliving some of us on this call right now, and continue to do the MAGA work. There is no fixing that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, the Supreme Court was on the election. It was on the ballot this election, and unfortunately, it was not in our favor. But what I will say is that I will be supporting legislation for term limits on the bench. Personally, I think that it's the right thing to do. The fact that these people can just sit there all of the time, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think the term limits are the right way to actually do this. I know that some people have had conversations about expanding the Supreme Court. I'm a little bit concerned about that, largely because, I just think the Supreme Court would end up being like 300 or 500 or so people, like, very quickly. But at the end of the day, I think that term limits is the right thing. Get these goobers the hell out of here. And then ultimately, just have it to where every president, you make it staggered. And, just say like every president will get at least 2 vacancies that they will be able to appoint. And if something else happens after that, then, that'll be some more seats. So I think that's the right way to do it.
Kenny, your question.
Well, my question was, since we were talking about he can't do it on his own, especially when it comes to Congress, and being the fact that, he doesn't have large donors, it's just empowered by the people. What can the people do to empower you as far as volunteer in your district? Are you accepting volunteers in this very moment? What link can we provide to the people to let them know if they're in your district, this is what they can do or where they can go in order to empower Isaiah so that he can represent us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, if you want to sign up to volunteer in the district or anywhere around the country, you can go to isaiahmartin.org, ISAIAHMARTIN.org. We want to build the world's largest phone bank. Because we want these guys to be so terrified of the momentum that we are building in this country, in which we can call so many people and let them know about the importance and the stakes of this election. We have already gotten well over 200 people signed up to volunteer, and every single day we're getting more and more and more and more and more. So I would love if everybody could sign up to volunteer, because I know that's really going to be the way that we're going to bring change. And we're going to have these guys so shocked and confused on election day. It's going to be unbelievable. Because the only thing that matters is not the opponent count, but it's the voter count. And I look forward to winning that.
That's right.
Isaiah's got to make it through this primary. He's got to win this nomination. And so whatever we can do to help him get forward, it's time to step up and time to do that. So, I want to show Isaiah's launch video. It was just such a good video, such an inspirational video. And I think that if you're out there, it's a great video to just share in general, to introduce people to Isaiah, right? Again, this is the situation. And I'm not someone who supports giving money to people outside of like races that I'm directly impacted by. But this is a race that's going to have a national impact because of how tight the balance of power is in the United States House of Representatives, and knowing what types of power plays Republicans are making to be ready to constantly set us up. I question John Fetterman. Okay, Isaiah this is completely separate of our candidate on this call. This is Zachary Kirk speaking for Zachary Kirk. But I question John Fetterman. I question, was he ever not a MAGA plant ready to be activated at the right moment from the commentary that he's not putting forth to the way that he's carrying himself. And I'm gonna lie and not tell you, you know what I said last week about fuck Chuck Schumer? I said again about fuck Chuck Schumer. I question, is he a plant? Was he not ready to be activated at a moment? Was that not the plan all along? So I'm questioning everyone out there, unless I know you personally, and I know this man personally. Now, with that being said, we're going to show that. And there was some questions, or this might have some. Oh, yeah, real quick. Now, I'm not saying, Citizen Morgan, to be discouraged, but I want people to be realistic. A lot of times and that's just Zachary. That's just a big part of my foundation. Be realistic. We made a choice. We have to live with the consequences of those choices so that in the future, guess what we make? Better choices. There's somebody watching this right now who didn't vote. I don't know who you are, but somebody didn't. If by chance of the 215 viewers across all platforms out there, maybe if you're not one of those who didn't vote, or who didn't vote for Trump, you didn't get the people in your life to vote. You didn't fight hard enough to get your son off the couch. You didn't fight hard enough to get your husband to vote early or make it that night. You didn't fight hard enough. You didn't find a way to get your elderly neighbor in the car with you and drive them to early vote. There's more that we could have done, every single one of us, that we didn't do. And that was our mistake. That was our choice. I want us to not make that choice in 2028 or really in any other election moving forward.
Facts.
Yeah. Without further ado.
Donald Trump's done nothing for you. Not for your family, not for your paychecks, and not for your future. It wasn't so long ago that he promised you $0 income tax, $1 and something for gas, and $2 egg. But since he's been in office, you've got none of that. Prices are up and jobs are down. You're working harder than ever while Trump and his friends get richer than ever. It's left you asking yourself the question of who's fighting for me? I mean, seriously, who's fighting for you? It's certainly not Donald Trump. It's not the Republicans that shake your hand and ask for your vote, then do nothing for you. You see, they want you distracted. They want you angry at your neighbors so you don't pay attention to what they're really doing. Because if you see them for what they are, you know that Trump's America doesn't work for you. Things are bad right now. You know that, and I know that. They're throwing everything at you. So now's the time to be bold and fight fire with fire. You see, I believe in a Democratic Party that has a spine, a party that stands for something, a party that fights back. Because after all, we're the party that won World War II. We're the party that gave you Social Security. We're the party that's built the strongest economies in the history of mankind. We're the party that fights for you instead of the few. And it's time you wake up every single morning knowing that someone in Washington is on your side. Because I believe in an America where the retiree can live out their years without having to count pennies in the pharmacy, where the cashier can afford the groceries they ring up, where a mother in the ER worries about her child's fever and not the hospital bill, where the veteran has a home and not a cardboard sign, where hard work builds your future, not just pays the bills. That's the America that I'm fighting for. So if you're ready for something different, then you must choose something different. I'm Isaiah Martin, and I'm running for the United States Congress. Because it's time to send Donald Trump a message that Democrats are ready to fight back.
And let me tell you, last week we talked about it, but motherfucker, that is cinema right there. What is it? It's mother cinema. 1.5 million views on Twitter, and plus, because you have to add all the other platforms that you put that on. That is the message. That is the message. That is how you. I need people in the comments.
Wait a minute. You said how many on Twitter?
1.5 million views on Twitter.
20 motherfuckers on Twitter ain't shit, but 1.5
million.
That's what I'm talking about. When we constantly talk about the vision, when we constantly talk about the message, when we constantly talk about be succinct, but and plainly speak. But what the words say, write it down and make it plain. That's right.
Or in the words of Keke Palmer, just say what you're saying.
That's right. That's what it is.
Book of Habakkuk, yes.
And that is all that it takes. And this is all that we've been saying. And the people who still don't understand, this is what we've been telling even the folks who don't know in Congress, that don't know how to work social media. It's not even about working social media. It's about the messaging and succinctly saying what you're saying. That is a master class in bringing down the message that you need to bring down. That's it.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about that whole thing is, when you decide to run for Congress, all these people that come to you, they say that they want to help you with these launch videos and these ads and these things, and they want to make it so complicated, and they want you to drive around the city and do all of these things. And I was like, let's just talk to the people. Yeah. Let's just have a conversation. Let's make it a straight up conversation. And I believe that that's what people resonate with. The crazy high-powered production and the $20,000. Nah, screw that. Went to a park, made a video, and we just talked to people. And I think that's the kind of government that we need going forward.
That's it. And
sometimes less is even best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I wanted to say this, and I was gonna say this off air to you, but I'm gonna say it now. One of the things that I loved from that video the most that you did, you constantly said, I'm fighting for you. That's I'm right. Fighting for you. For you, not the few. You, like you kept on censoring that. And there was analysis that happened after the general election when they broke down Elon Musk's millions of dollars, and they broke down to Donald Trump's lies during the campaign, during the election. And they broke down that specific ad that everybody remembers, and everybody always wants to talk about, the transgender ad that, Kamala Harris is promoting transgender surgeries on children and inmates. They analyzed it, and they said that the second part of that video was the most impactful, which is where, and I think this, which is where they said she's fighting for they, them, I'm fighting for you. Right. They analyzed it and they broke that shit down, all the fucking lies that they did. The fact that in this video, the intentionality of consistently censoring the constituents and the I'm fighting for you, masterclass. People don't pick up on those little things, but I picked up on some of those things. I'm just like, that is what you do.
Oh yeah.
No, and when you talk about when you talk about fighting for the few, we're also talking about the fuck ups of a few. Now, how many are in the few, we don't know. Because there were a number of people that fall, as you see on this chart, in the other category where we don't know who they are. But we know that a number of people in the Trump administration were a part of Signalgate 25, where they were caught in a signal chat discussing American war plans, and they dropped into that chat. Mike Walls dropped into that chat the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic magazine, a magazine that is no friend to the Trump administration, that is one of the few publications that is still committed to speaking truth to power. And this looked like for a moment that it would be a possible flash in the pan, because Republicans chose to find anything they could to distract from this in mainstream media, throw it to Fox News, thinking that the news cycle would abandon this and run with that. They unfortunately chose fellow Texan Jasmine Crockett, where they dug up an HRC video to make that something that maybe that's going to get more press, to attack a black woman and let this be the big focus. But it seems as though mainstream media for now is holding the line to focus on what is a bigger issue, the biggest issue currently, America's security, and emphasizing this. Gentlemen, I want to know your thoughts on Signalgate and the few who fucked up bad. I mean, real bad.
I mean, here's my thing. When it comes to Signalgate, these people have literally put us in harm's risk and literally fucked with our whole national security. Mind the fact that they've already been slimmed down on their national security when it comes to Russia, but being the fact that even the FBI says that Signal could easily be hacked from Russia. I mean, they might as well have then talked on damn Facebook Messenger if they was going to do some shit like this. But it's also the blatant hypocrisy that I'm seeing from the Republican Party as they sit here and talk about DEI hires, but it seems like all these people are unqualified, because you would have never seen this happen from Lloyd Austin. You would have never seen this happen in the Biden-Harris administration. You would have never seen this happen in the Obama administration. You literally saw with Kamala Harris, she had to take away her own family group chat of even communicating with her family, the things that she would normally do just to talk to her loved ones, even with not even being able to get DoorDash. He had to give away all these things for our security. And the mere fact that these people are just doing this out of the whim and then acting like this isn't a real big issue. But yet they made so many issues about Hillary Clinton's emails. At least she had a private damn server.
Right. I want to toss it to
I mean,
Isaiah,
we're just ghetto.
I want to toss it to Isaiah, but I have some thoughts too.
No, I have something queued up special for Isaiah.
Oh, okay, so let me say,
Isaiah ain't gotta tell us his viewpoint. I already got it saved.
Okay, so let me say this then, because I also broke this shit down. The facts are that, let me tack on to what Kenny was already saying. It's not necessarily just that, for the hypocrisy as it relates to them talking about, DEI hires, because yes, that's part of it, and P. Hegseth is fucking dramatically unqualified and ill prepared for the moment, clearly. But it's the other part. They made such a big deal about classified information and the Biden administration and how Biden had all these classified documents. But your ass is literally putting people in danger. Our military, you want to say you're the pro-patriot, the pro-veteran, the pro-military party, yet at the same time, you're putting them in danger. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't want to talk about the 4 U.S. dead soldiers that were just found in Lithuania. That's another story that a lot of people are not talking about. Back to Pete Hegseth and how his unqualified, incompetent ass is putting our military in danger and at risk. That news was broken. And by the way, Trump coming out and saying he knows nothing about it. When they went missing on Tuesday afternoon, it was reported. Today, they were found dead. They asked him, was he briefed about it? He said he knew nothing about it. The incompetence, the lies, the hypocrisy, and the bullshit. We have to continue to bring this to the forefront of people's minds, because the hashtag Pete Hegseth resign movement is getting stronger, and they want to continue to talk about tariffs. They want to continue to talk about non-essential things. Just today on the radio, Trump was over here talking about Jasmine Crockett and how she speaks, because they want to distract from the actual stories, which are these. I mean, these are the big blunders.
No, literally, they're saying we're going to attack a black woman.
Yes,
right now, just one who's popular in the moment, and who they know is going to only continue to grow in popularity and crossover appeal from Democrats to Republicans, because Jasmine Crockett is the strongest voice that the Democratic Party has in this moment, and they're going for her to distract from this. And I'm like, this is so blatant and so obvious, so blatant and so obvious. I'm gonna pull up. Because I know how it was just our plan, right? I mean, we want to hear what Isaiah got to say. Well, hey, I got what Isaiah said. Okay, I got what Isaiah said. But before we go into that, we do want to, and we're going to honor the questions, but we do want to recognize and give a shout out to our little celebrity in the comment. Noah, glad that you here with us.
America's nephew. America's nephew.
What's up, nephew?
Noah, you can join the week any Wednesday that you're up. You could definitely join us in. And Isaiah, as someone said, we got to get him on Roland Martin, of course. And, I know Isaiah is a fan of Roland. He watches Roland. They're both Houstonians. Knowing Roland Martin, he's probably staying out of anything at the moment because he knows all these candidates. But I definitely know that as we get closer to the election, I'm certain that Roland will be right there with Isaiah through it all. And so we go here. Now, this is what Isaiah had to say. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let him tell us more from this. But this is what he said on the TikTok.
If Barack Obama, Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris did what Pete Hegseth did tonight, you would never hear the end of it on Fox News, from the Republicans, from any of them. It would be on every single front page you could find, and they would be calling this the greatest scandal since Watergate. I mean, sending battle plans by text message. I mean, seriously? But you won't hear a peep from the Republicans about this because they're too weak to say anything. These guys have literally turned this country into a laughingstock of the world in less than 60 days. It's terrible.
Fucking terrible.
Terrible.
That's right.
It's terrible. I mean, look. I don't think we've ever had more stupid people in government than what we have right now. I mean, we just got so many stupid people, and I think that we should just say it just like that, just very plain. I mean, you got the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in the history of this country, and are we surprised that less than 60 days in, he royally screws stuff up? Like, absolutely not. Like, this guy is an idiot, and the people around him are the same thing as well. doing this in a Signal chat is just absolutely absurd. They all need to be brought in front of congressional committees and really put on oath for pretty much all of this. And I tell you what, I don't believe that this is going to be the end of what you see here, because more and more stuff is going to come out. Because if they're this reckless and they're this stupid and incompetent, I promise you, this is not the first time they've done this.
It's already coming out. So we saw today, Tulsi Gabbard in her congressional hearing had to basically was contradicted on almost everything that she said in yesterday's congressional hearing. And it was a great piece. I'm going to show a very brief clip of it, but it was wonderful. But then we also found out today that there's the personal information and passcodes of almost every single person that in that chat could be found online by a search. They don't even know how to protect their own personal data. This was the clip that we saw today from the congressional hearing with Tulsi Gabbard.
I want to spend a minute or so on yesterday's testimony in front of the Senate and direct these questions in particular to Director Patel and Director Gabbard.
I'm sorry, I tried to mute myself.
Yesterday, Senator Heinrich asked, did this conversation, referring to the Signal chat, include information on weapons, targets, or timing? Director Patel, you said not that I'm aware of. Director Gabbard, you said the same answer. This morning we learned that the Signal chat included the following update, forward-looking update from the Secretary of Defense. Time now, 11:44 Eastern Time. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM. We are go for mission launch. 12:15 Eastern Time. F-18 launch. First strike package. 13:45 trigger-based F-18 first strike. Target terrorist at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch. MQ-9s. 14:10. More F-18s launch. Second strike package. Do either of the directors want to reflect on their testimony yesterday in the context of what I read?
Sure. 1, I was not on that Signal chat. 2, I viewed it. And 3, as you just indicated, that was made public this morning.
But Director, you didn't prior to yesterday said you were on this. You were on the Signal chat. Right? Okay, but did you review the material on the Signal? Okay. Director Gabbard.
Yes, Ranking Member. My answer yesterday was based on my recollection or the lack thereof on the details that were posted there. I was not, and what was shared today reflects the fact that I was not directly involved with that part of the Signal chat, and replied at the end reflecting the effects, the very brief effects that the National Security Advisor had shared.
So it's your testimony that less than 2 weeks ago, you were on a Signal chat that all of this information about F-18s and MQ-9 Reapers and targets on strike, and you in that week period simply forgot that was your testimony?
My testimony is I did not recall the exact details of what was included there.
That was not your testimony. Your testimony was that you were not aware of anything related to weapons packages, targets, and timing.
The testimony yesterday continued on. There were further questions related to that, where I acknowledged that there was a conversation about weapons, and I don't remember the exact wording that I used, but I did not recall the specific details that were included.
Director Gabbard, you've reasserted that there was no classified information. I think we can all agree that that information shouldn't have been out there. But let me ask you this. Are you familiar with the ODNI's classification guidance?
I'm familiar.
I've actually got a copy right here. If I read you a part of that guidance, I wonder if you could tell me what the level of classification indicated is. I'm reading from your classification guidance. And the criteria is information providing indication or advance warning that the U.S. or its allies are preparing an attack. Do you recall what your own guidance would suggest that be classified?
I don't have the specifics in front of me, but it would point to what was shared would fall under the DoD's classification system and the Secretary of Defense's authority.
So let me help you, because there's a very clear answer. You don't, I guess.
She doesn't know.
Information providing, this is the ODNI guidance. Information providing indication or advance warning that the U.S. or its allies are preparing an attack should be classified as top secret. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree with that. I just point out that the DoD classification guidance is separate from the ODNI's classification
What a fucking idiot.
No, Tulsi is very smart here.
Holds the authority to classify or declassify.
This is brilliant, actually.
Do you think it's likely that DoD guidance is materially different from what I just read?
I haven't reviewed the DoD guidance, so I can't comment.
That's why she's there, and Pete is at home taking a drink, getting a drink to calm down.
She's talking in circles. That's all she's doing.
That's what you do, though. Listen. I mean, like that's something. I think
yes, that's the strategy. But
they put her there for a purpose. Tulsi Gabbard was selected to go here and not Pete
and lie.
Because exactly, she knows how to play this game. She's sat on these committees. She's been the interrogator. She knows what to say. She knows how to play that game with them, and she knows how to. It's a back and forth. And her only thing is to make sure that she doesn't say anything that's going to incriminate her or the president. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that's how this game is played. So she did a great job. There's no way Pete Hegseth could do that. But to me, that further proves how incompetent he is. And though that I think that they're going to be, I think it's going to continue to be a much bigger issue than people realize. I don't think Tulsi Gabbard is in any way going to be held accountable for anything because, no,
none of them are
really do anything at the level that Pete and Mike and other people did. I think that ultimately somebody's got to lose their head over this, but I don't think it'll be Tulsi.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, they're always in the damn chat together. Shit, they're co-conspirators. Fuck them. All they asses should go down.
That's what I say. What I find very interesting about this is either you have the director of national intelligence admitting to knowingly using a signal chat to share top secret information, or the director of national intelligence simply was not paying attention to a planned strike that they all were supposed to be paying attention to. So how is it that you either are one of those two situations? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Either you just show and admit that you're a complete incompetent basket case, or you just knowingly just went and spread top secret information. I mean, it's just these people. There's no floor to how insane these people will be. Tulsi Gabbard is an idiot, and I think that we should just call her out.
There is no floor, but this is something that I think is important. I feel the same way. I think somebody has said, what's the point? I made a whole video saying there is no point in this because it won't matter. I know Fox News isn't talking about it. They're not giving the perspective. Then someone also said no one will be held accountable. I do want to support. You're right. No one's going to be held accountable by the people in Congress, but we, the American people, have to hold them accountable. We have to step up and do the work of maintaining a democracy. We had the work of saving a democracy, and that work was voting for Kamala Harris, and we didn't do it. Okay, we failed, but we can still salvage what is left of our country and what is left of our democracy by just simply not giving up and being quiet. And I'm not telling you to go out there and mass protest or any of that. You do what you feel called to do. But the small things of simply sharing this out, that the Fox News watchers aren't seeing it. So how do we break through to those people so they see this, that they know this happened? They know how dangerous that it is. Brian is a firm believer of the power of the younger vote, and he knows that the key to bringing them together is the issue they care about the most, and it really is about workers' rights, the issues that affect class and race in America. And I agree 110%. But my argument back to Brian in multiple conversations is that they're an unreliable electorate. They've never come through in the course of American history. And will they start doing it? I'm not going to bet money on it, but I'm going to tell you who will come through are voters who are 65 and older. They're going to vote. They're a reliable voting bloc. They vote no matter what. And they're the ones who aren't getting the information. They're the ones sitting at home in retirement watching Fox News all day, or they're sitting in their homes or wherever they are watching Fox News all day. We have to find a way to break through to them because this is something that would fucking get them mobilized. They know the dangers of Nazism, fascism, authoritarianism, and national security at risk because they have lived through a number of crisis moments that were worse than this, but this could have been worse than them. And they know that, and we've got to let them know it.
Here's what I will say. I think that the town halls have been breaking through. I love to see the special elections in the state Senate and state House of Pennsylvania that we saw multiple districts that went plus 20, plus 30 for Trump, flipped to Democrats because they did the work to go out there to talk to the constituents, and the DNC was out there. I saw Malcolm Kenyatta posting about this. I saw David Hogg post. I saw Ken Martin posting about this, how they really bolstered those. That for me shows me where the real work is. And I saw a flurry of those special election results that came in last night. People were reposting it, and I was like, wow, that is what it takes. And that's it's not I hate to say it because a lot of the work that we do, lives online, but we actually go to the events. We go and talk to the people. Right. We've actually been to battleground states during the general election and talked to voters and knocked on doors with union members. I know that we've all done it. Yeah. And but at the same time, one of the things that's very important to understand in this moment is that a lot of this work is not going to happen just online. That we can get to certain segments of the population. If I look at my breakdown in my analytics, I see that I have people from 18 to 65 within my range, but I have a lot of people who are more older, in that are in my analytics. At the same time, going to these specific places where people can hear directly from the elected official is also powerful and important. We see that breakthrough. More town halls need to happen. Shout out Tim Walz, who has also been doing that work too, because I don't think a lot of people, there's been a lot of people who have been uplifted, but I want to talk about some of the other people who haven't been talked about as much, who've been doing some of these town halls. Though that message is breaking through. And we'll see what happens with Gay Valamont in Florida, and other
She's making
folks.
Progress. I'll admit it and own it. She's making surprising strides, and I'm proud of her.
Right. We'll see what happens with. I'm sorry, I don't know who the other person in Florida is, which other district it is.
Isn't his name Elijah?
I think his name is Josh Weiland or something like Josh.
Okay. So I want to say him, but then also the seat in New York. Let's see what happens, and also let's see what happens with the Supreme Court race. Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Judge Susan Crawford, who has been doing some great work there. A lot of people have been uplifting her from not only Wisconsin, but across the country, and donating to her campaign and getting the message out there, and understanding that Elon Musk is trying to win that Supreme Court race so that they can gerrymander the districts and in favor of the Republicans. So let's also uplift that these are also wins. So I think that's why I'm saying there's the combination of the both and. It's the living in the realism and understanding the management of expectations. At the same time, it's on the other side where it's saying, nah, this shit is breaking through and we have to uplift the wins, because that's what also motivates people when they see that they're winning and that what their work is actually accomplishing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I was going to show the clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene and the reporters, but I'm not. So if you saw that, it's definitely worth
let's not get bleed blind back.
Can I say this? I didn't see that. I didn't see that clip.
I did. Real brief. It is good. It's a good clip.
She was attacking someone from the UK because she said, "You're not from here."
This is pretty funny. It was a good clip, but this is the thing, and the whole point of this is we're getting ready to talk about Congresswoman Crockett. And when you talk about censoring someone, I thought that Marjorie Taylor Greene had been censored, and she wasn't. She was brought up for censor, but it didn't pass.
But there was another vote. There was another vote where they removed her from her committee. That was just a separate vote.
But she wasn't censored. But we're going to censor Congresswoman Crockett for comments that she made a whole entire cycle of Congress ago.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And when we have a woman like this representing people from the fine state of Georgia.
Anybody else?
Should the defense secretary?
What country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem? And no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives?
No. Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No, by migrants. No, do you care? Okay,
do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
Your answer to what she's asked.
I'm not answering her question. I can answer it.
Shout out to the. Can I say? I don't know what
of operational security from the top level of this administration.
You want to know about complete disregard about operational security? You should talk about the Biden administration and how they were open to terrorists, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking across our borders for 4 years. The Trump administration is doing a great job, and I stand by their statements. My comment to you is I'm thankful to President Trump that he is leading us out of wars, that he's ending the war.
No, he's not.
American lives could have been killed if Joe Biden was still president today, whether he liked it or not. We're talking about NPR and PBS today. We're talking about fake news that was funded with federal funding from American taxpayers.
Oh my
That's
God.
what this is about today, not journalists from the UK that care about their
journalist is being vilified for
Of course,
Now,
she's gonna run.
She crashed out.
Right. Can I say this? Shout out to the one American journalist that when she over here, Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh, American journalist. And he's like, well, can you answer her questions?
Straight up. You know,
Shout out to that.
Out.
That's right. Also, shout out to the people in the comment section that look at Kenny's reactions every time these clips come up and they try to clip the reactions. Because Kenny's face is like, if you watch this on the playback, Kenny's faces be so all over the place. But can I also say this to just Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because Zach, you said this. You said the fine state of Georgia. Now, I will say that there are some great districts in Georgia, but I don't know about the fine state of Georgia, Zachary Kirk.
See, that's that shit I'm talking about because I had to talk about this earlier. Talking about, move, come on down. It's your turn to play. The price is right. That's what Zach tells me every goddamn day.
So
I'm not leaving my blue state.
It's good to be in the blue. It is good to be in the blue state. There are definitely problems and challenges here, but Kenny, as a content creator who is tethered to two other content creators, you being in Georgia would be advantageous and would be a better move for the overall democracy of the nation, because you will be able to be in an actual studio. We will be able to do more things in person to move. We could easily move all. Like I said, when it's time, we're going to all go to Houston to canvas for Isaiah. Like, it's just easier when we're all here together. It's just easier. But we're making it work remotely from our homes while we are in the growing phase. And one thing that leads to and helps us in the growing phase is donations like what we have from Citizen Morgan for $5. And what we're doing tonight is all of the super chats and all the donations we get, I'm going to take those and I'm going to double them and add it to my 100 to then donate to the Isaiah Martin campaign. So already in the bank off the bat is $100 that I'm giving more to Isaiah because I already donated. I'm donating again, and now it's going to be $5. So now it becomes $110 that we're donating to Isaiah tonight. So drop in those super chats, and don't ask me how to do it. Google it because I don't know. I don't know how Citizen Morgan bought that. I know how she did it, but she did it.
Can I say this? So Isaiah, so I'm a big believer in whenever I donate money, I like to go, and the way that I like to donate money is go to the shop. So like, do you have IsaiahMartin.com? So you can buy some Isaiah Martin merch, some t-shirts, some hats.
Well, it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned that, because coming up pretty soon, I'm going to have some stuff that's going to be open and available for people that I think they're going to really, really like. I know the MAGA folks are going to really hate to see it, but when it comes out, it's going to be great. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. Give me a couple more days.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna have to tell y'all offline what it is.
But now we're at 120. We're at 120.
Thank you.
That's right for the people. So shout out to Agent MG17 for also putting that 5 there. But Isaiah, I wanted to hear your take on the Marjorie Taylor Greene video we just saw, because that I think is indicative of people. You take that seat. You're at the helm. You're gonna be asked questions by reporters, especially people that are trying to get under your skin. That famous walk where every politician does that famous walk where they're walking on the street in DC. They're trying to go to the Capitol building, and you have all these people trying to swarm them and ask them questions, trying to get in their face. And a lot of these people are bad faith trying to get a viral clip for Newsmax, OANN, all these right-wing people. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I think B6 has really just absolutely been absurd. B6, she's getting out of line, and I just think ultimately we just gotta call her for that. But on TikTok, I've been used to just taking the craziest questions one can imagine. At this point, I've become really used to being in quote unquote the pressure cooker per se. And look, whatever these Republicans have coming my way, I say bring it on, because they're going to need a hell of a lot of energy to stop the kind of movement that we're going to try to build in this country. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene is rude. I mean, that's just who she is. She says crazy stuff, and ultimately, I don't think that we should be surprised when she acts like B6.
For the people in the comment section that don't know what B6 is, bleach blonde bad bill butch body.
All six of the beats.
Just for the people in the comment section.
And of course, we know that came from the one and only Representative Jasmine Crockett from Texas.
Yep, that's right.
It's the 10th district. Is it the 10th district, Isaiah?
I don't think it's a 10th. It's
No.
I think she's from the 12th district. Hold on, let me double check.
Yeah, she tells me it's in the 40s or something.
She's district. She's district 30.
30, yeah.
30. Oh yeah.
30. Yeah, that's it.
District 30.
Okay, and so with that being said, we now have a whole new round of attacks. This speech was given. It's not even recently done. This isn't a recent moment in history where Congresswoman Crockett made these statements about Governor Greg Abbott. There were so many videos made. So many people had so much to say. I made 2 videos and didn't post either one of them because I didn't know how to best handle it. I didn't. So, and why I did not handle it? One, I definitely think the comments were, I think it was an ableist comment. And so I denounced that. And so I denounce it. But I also think that using this comment at this moment is a deflection. And I don't want to take away from what the real issues are. But I made my videos too. I was going to post them. But then I saw this video. And then I said, shit, fuck it. I don't have to. Kenny already said all that needs to be said when he said,
y'all motherfuckers are too melodramatic for me. Y'all acting like this is a telenovela. You would think Jasmine Black Greg Abbott out his wheelchair, called him a cripple, and then proceeded to do the stanky leg. Let's see what they so pressed about.
We in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey.
That's it. What's the deal? You know the real reason why they call him Hot Wheels? Greg's remedial rudimentary, Abbott elementary, ignorant motherfucking ass sent immigrants to VP's house in a hot ass double Dutch bus from hell full of piss. They had like sardines in a motherfucking can for 7 to 12 hours straight.
Get on the bus.
Shit, bitch, they want to accuse Jasmine of some shit she didn't damn do. Well, we'll make a million motherfucking excuses when Trump did this.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. I go, oh, maybe that's what I said.
Since when has bitch ass Greg Abbott been the prim of the prim of representation for the disabled community? Because his actions speak differently. Last time I checked, he slashed the check when it came to Medicaid, okay? He cut $607 million that would have helped students with disabilities. And he vetoed the bill that would have made it easier for those who were disabled to vote by mail. Oh, baby, it gets worse. Did you know when that maggot-ass Abbott signed that executive order trying to eliminate DEI, it also removed the restrictions and limitations and requirements for accommodations and accessibility for those with disabilities. Greg Abbott ain't nothing but the nefarious-ass version of Nessa Rowe. This motherfucker is wicked. And he better be glad a tree only fell on his ass rather than a motherfucking house. We need to get Hot Wheels some red ruby motherfucking slippers because he done slipped up too motherfucking much for me. Well, I'm offended. Me too. I'm offended at the fact that Greg Abbott aligns himself with white nationalists. He gonna pardon the person who ran his car into a Black Lives Matter protest and then get out the car and shoot and kill some damn body. Mind you, Garrett Foster, the victim, was there with his disabled girlfriend. But let's attack Jasmine. Yeah. That sounds like such a wonderful idea. Well, you're insensitive. Well, call me Barbara, bitch.
Doesn't feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
And I stand by it. I don't feel bad for that bitch at all. Okay?
Boys,
do not give a damn.
Boys, this is what we call in the business cinema.
Listen, no, Citizen Morgan, you wouldn't actually probably ever get into you won't ever argue with Kenny because Kenny really doesn't argue with people in real life. He just doesn't do it. I've never seen it. He gets mad, he gets pissed off,
Actually,
if Kenny
actually,
Kenny
yes.
gets in an argument with you, it's you really like fucked up. Because he actually no, seriously, because Kenny actually works towards conversation diplomacy more than anybody I know.
Let me say this.
I do until we reach a point of no return. When I get to that level, because a lot of people feel that, Kenny just be going off in these videos. It takes time for me to get there. Okay, but I'm at my best when I'm on offensive.
So now we're at $140 donated to the Isaiah Martin campaign. So now we're at $140 to the donation because I'm adding a double to whatever. So a 10 is given, I double it to a 20. So we were at 120, now we're at 140 to the Isaiah Martin campaign. It's not too late. We still donate. We're here.
Oh yeah.
Let me say this about that because I talked about this last night on my show. The reality about this whole Jasmine Crockett thing, I want to tack on to what Kenny was saying in his video. The other part to it is he was pictured going at the White House where he tweeted, today is a great day. Like, we're going to bring back education to the states. The day that Donald Trump signed the executive order to dismantle the Department of Education in front of those children, which, by the way, that was a whole other fucking mess. But here's the other thing about that. You literally are dismantling and you are celebrating the dismantling of the department that gives money to children who will have wheelchairs because that's what the access was. And not only gives money to children with wheelchairs, but also the students that are disabled, period. So all students with disabilities, all students with special needs, all students with special accommodations, he's celebrating it while being in a wheelchair. This is the exact definition of being somebody who gets the privilege and then closes the door behind them, right? Because he's not going to be impacted by that, right? So literally the hypocrisy is all in place. Like, you're over here, people are so mad about, Jasmine Crockett said this, but it's like, again, you voted for somebody who literally made fun of a disabled reporter and who did it on a rally stage with other people smiling, laughing, joking, belittling, satirizing this other person's name. Like, come on now. It's bullshit. And that's absolutely right what Zach was saying earlier. It's a distraction. I talked about it on my show, but I wasn't going to make a video because I'm like, and Kenny said everything. But it was also like, let me just move on to like something else. This P. Hegseth shit, this Signal Gate, this 4 soldiers that are dead. You know what I'm saying? On his watch.
Right.
The thing is, they feel very, go ahead, Isaiah.
No, I mean, look, I 100% agree. I mean, ultimately, they're just trying to use this as a distraction. I mean, it was clear. I mean, they came this morning so desperate. And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway from all this. They are so desperate to change the subject. And it's just hilarious that, they try to dig up anything they possibly can. Ultimately, it's because Congresswoman Crockett is just putting their, she's just staying unapologetic on them ultimately. And look at this, what's on the screen. I mean, 100%. I mean, these Republicans are the same ones that were making cartoons of Joe Biden, with a noose around his neck. I mean, they were lying on him over and over again, saying that he was dementia patient, all of these things. And you think that any of us would have any sympathy for these people? I mean, these people are quite literally the last people that should be clutching their pearls in this situation, because it's absolutely an abomination what they've done over the years.
They do that shit all the time.
Just look at the list.
They're the biggest victims, right? They play the biggest victims. Kenny, go ahead. What are you going to say?
That's all they do. That's all they do is try to play the victim. I always call them, the biggest snowflakes in politics are MAGA. I mean, they just are always crying and whining and complaining about every possible thing you can find. And it's because they cannot take any heat.
No.
And
at all.
Sorry. And I just got to say it. Like, that's why I'm running for Congress. Like, because these guys are weak. There is no reason to be afraid of any of these people. They're weak. They're cowards. They're feckless. And we should be doing everything possible to stand up to them, because it's like, they're clowns. I mean, look, every single day I see these people. I look at people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Pete Hegseth. These guys don't want no smoke, right? Like,
they don't.
That's why we got to be unapologetic about these things, because they're a bunch of jokes.
That's right.
And that's why they're so threatened by Jasmine, because Jasmine's unapologetically Black, and she's the only Democrat that I know who will continuously fight back and give them a dose of their own medicine, which is the reason why they're trying to pivot towards her, because they understand that, well, if we kneecap her, if we censure her, she can't come after us. She can't hold us accountable. And that's all this is about. This is all about trying to kneecap the Democratic Party and trying to take our best player out the game. But it's just not going to work because we're standing 10 toes down with our girl Jasmine. That's just not going to happen. But
100%.
back to your point, they've called our vice president and slut shamed her and called her everything but a child of God. But yet we're going to continuously allow them to say the things that they do and disrespect us. But I'm supposed to have empathy for Greg Abbott, who's continuously been a barrier for the disabled community. He won't even let them get a leg up, and y'all can take that however the fuck y'all want to. But he will not let the disabled community get a leg up based off of what he's been through. It's interesting enough that this man has literally made millions of dollars because of a settlement that he won due to a tree falling on him, but then in the same breath issued policies that would make it hard for anybody who might have that same thing happen to them to benefit for the thing that allowed him to get the wealth that he's got. He is not a martyr. He is not the perfect representation. He needs to be caught on his bullshit, and he deserves all the fucking smoke that he gets. I don't feel bad for somebody like this.
We literally have a party trying to take away Social Security. We take away the Department of Education, take away protections for people to ensure, an equal. We take away 504 accommodations for students. And this man aligns himself to that party and supports it fully. He was happy. He was proud to post that he was in Washington, D.C., watching the president pass the executive order that will ultimately dismantle the Department of Education. So I have no sympathy for Greg Abbott. His record speaks for itself. What he's done to harm that community, although he's a member of it, speaks for itself. And I think that the four of us tonight have spoken for ourselves, and it's definitely time to wrap it up and go. I want to thank everybody who's watched us. It is still not too late for you to donate to candidate Isaiah Martin for the 18th District of Texas, representing the Houston area. I am donating, as soon as we conclude this call, a total of $140. Now, some of you may see this on the replay. That's fine. You can still give a super chat. And yeah, I'll continue to add to it, between this week and next week. So we have a whole week of being able to, add to what we're going to donate beyond. But this donation, Isaiah, I'm going to make right now. And
I'll match you, Zach, and I will match you with the same amount.
I'll go ahead and match that.
Oh,
my God.
Oh, man, this is crazy. I just gotta say, man, I love you guys so much, man. It really means a lot for us, especially because we're getting yard signs, we're getting literature, man, and we're ultimately gonna get there.
It's gonna take.
And that's what it's gonna take. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait for us to go forward and win this election, and then I can't wait to come back here all the time when I'm a congressman, man. So it's gonna be exciting. So
I know that Isaiah, you're probably getting ready to go live on YouTube. I mean, on TikTok. So tell people how they can follow you, because Isaiah goes live every night. Like I'm a night owl. I'm up every morning. I'm by 9 o'clock at the latest, usually 8, but 9. I usually go to bed. I hate to say 3 o'clock, but I will be on TikTok at 3 o'clock, and boom, who's on there? Isaiah is on there live arguing with MAGA nuts. So Isaiah, how can they find you on TikTok to watch you?
Yes, indeed. You can follow me on TikTok at Isaiah R. Martin, ISAIAHRMARTIN, ISAIAHRMARTIN. And that's also me on all platforms.
And your Act Blue donation link is on your bio, and all of that stuff is set up.
Yep. It's in my TikTok bio, and then also on my website at IsaiahMartin.org, ISAIAHMARTIN.org.
We have 170 people watching us right now in this current moment on the Twitter. We appreciate you. We thank you. We're glad you're there. But we really want you to watch us on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube. And we stream to my channel, the Zactivist. We stream to Brian's channel at Mentally Divine. And we stream to Kenny's channel at K Walden 1993. You can watch any of us at any given time. Thank you to the 26 people watching on Mentally Divine, the 18 people watching on the Zactivist, and the 46 people watching on on Too Raw, Too Real Entertainment. Please continue to support us. But again, we want to slowly get everybody over to YouTube because YouTube is a platform that pays us as content creators, and Twitter pays us dust. Not shit, but suppression and trolls that call me names and slurs all fucking day. So, we got more money in the drop. Wait a minute, contestant Green dropped the 10. Contestant Green dropped the 10.
That's 165 now.
Now we're at 165. So boom, there you go. There you go. So we're gonna end it. Everybody, you keep it on the replay. We can't wait to see you next week with another show with the big three.
The big three.
Amazing, guys, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much.